What is up, everyone? What is up? What is up? The finals are here. Welcome to Card Chaos Live. Today's featured matchup is Jimmy Butler versus LeBron James. For those of you who are new to this game, my name is Trisha Joy. I host a game called Card Chaos Live, where I shuffle my NBA trading cards to create one-on-one matchups that we may or may not see in today's NBA. Any player, any position, any era, anything goes. Again, that's any player, any position, any era, anything goes. And believe it or not, I am a card collector. I've been doing it most of my life. And yeah, I created this game when the NBA was put on pause, sorry, by COVID. So these are the cards I'm featuring today. Not my best LeBron James, because I would kind of be crazy to put it in the game and shuffle them. But here is the matchup for today. All right, so this is LeBron James and Jimmy Butler. And yeah, all I do is shuffle the cards to see who will win. And it's up to you guys, right? The viewers to pick who will win. And I give you guys 60 seconds to decide. And all you have to do is comment on the wall, right? So, I am going to show you the bracket right now. And so you can see what's up. So here's the bracket that I use to create the matchups. And you can see right here, LeBron James and Jimmy Butler are featured at the bottom. They will be the last of this 8-person bracket. And then what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and fill in the players before. I will show you who won, right? We're in episode 63, but in episode 62 and probably all like 5 other episodes before, Scottie Pippen came out on top. We had Scottie Pippen faced off against Anthony Davis in Monday's game, and then in episode 61, which was last Friday, we had Scottie Pippen versus LeBron, and you guys picked Scottie Pippen multiple times. So what I had to do before this episode is retire all my Scottie Pippen cards because Scottie Pippen was just running amok, right? So here are just a few. Here are 3 of my Scottie Pippen cards. I just realized how many Scottie Pippens I had, but had to retire this batch here so that they wouldn't come up in the game. All right. And speaking of the game, let's begin. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. Why don't you go ahead and tag a friend? Again, this is one-on-one card chaos where I shuffle my NBA trading cards to create one-on-one matchups that we may or may not see in today's NBA. So let's begin. All right. Welcome to Card Chaos Live. All right. In the first bracket, we will have. Okay. Old school a little bit. Zach Randolph. Zach Randolph has showed up in this episode of Card Chaos Live. All right. Against Zach Randolph, we will have. Against Zach Randolph, we will have. Let's see. Against Zach Randolph, we will have. Okay, Grant Hill. Grant Hill has come up in this episode of Card Chaos Live. That was lopsided. All right. In the third bracket, we will have. Paul George. Paul George will be in this episode of Card Chaos Live. Against Paul George. Let me put some other people in here. All right. Against Paul George, we will have. This one came out. Kevin Durant will be in this episode of Card Chaos Live. And in the last bracket, we add more players. In the last bracket, we will have. Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis will be in this episode of Podcast Live. And against Kristaps Porzingis, we will have Carmelo Anthony, little Nick. All right. The subs, we're going to pick 3 subs for today. The 3 subs that will be in this game will be the 3 subs. Who was that? Trae Young. Trae Young popped out as a sub on this episode of Podcast Live. 2 more subs. Go ahead and tag your friends. 2 more subs. We will have Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell will be a sub in today's Card Chaos Live. And one more sub today will be CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum will be in this episode of Card Chaos Live. So now I'm going to announce all the participants in this episode of Card Chaos Live, starting with Grant Hill versus Zach Randolph. Grant Hill versus Zach Randolph. The featured event, Jimmy Butler versus LeBron James. We'll have Kevin Durant versus Paul George. That's a good one. This episode of Podcast Live. We'll have Carmelo Anthony in a Knicks matchup, former Knicks matchup against Kristaps Porzingis. The subs are CJ McCollum, Donovan Mitchell, and Trae Young. Welcome to this episode of Card Chaos Live. Go ahead and tag your friends. You guys know who's participating today. I'm going to go ahead and start. Let's see who's here. I don't know who that is. Yes, I do host some radio stuff. Welcome, Reese. Welcome, Jason. So again, I'm going to put up the bracket so we all can see. Let me lower the music down. And we picked some interesting matchups. The first matchup that we had. Ooh, that's a past episode. My bad. The first matchup we had was Grant Hill versus Zach Randolph. What up, Zachary? So again, this first bracket is Grant Hill versus Zach Randolph. Again, we have three subs for today. This is the opportunity to call sub if you want to sub, or keep if you want to keep. Stay if you want to stay. All right. So this first matchup, we're going to have Grant Hill versus Zach Randolph. Reminder, the subs today are Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, and CJ McCollum. If you want to sub them out, please let me know. All right. Do you want to stay with Grant Hill versus Zach Randolph, or do you want to sub any of these players for one of the players that I mentioned? All right, I'm going to give you guys a few seconds. Go ahead and tag a friend. Go ahead and hit the like button if you're watching. Anybody for a sub? Because we could go ahead with Zach Randolph versus Grant Hill. Zach Randolph versus Grant Hill. Anybody? All right, I'm gonna give you 10 seconds because I think I would sub out. I would sub out Zach Randolph for. CJ McCollum, to be honest. All right, so I'm gonna give you 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Reese. Okay, so Reese says sub in Trae. So since Reese was the first one to speak up, we're gonna go ahead and sub in Trae Young for Zach Randolph. So the matchup is now going to be Grant Hill versus Zach Randolph. All right, Grant Hill versus Zach Randolph. Thank you so much, Reese, for speaking up. Again, this is one-on-one Card Chaos. I shuffle my NBA trading cards to create one-on-one matchups that we may or may not see in today's NBA. Any player, any position, any era, anything goes. I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock. We have Grant Hill versus Trae Young. All right. So, is amazing because I think Grant Hill, even though he's like a top tier player, he was basically going to be handed the NBA as the second or the heir to Jordan. All right, the second, I guess, king of the league, and then injuries came about, so that didn't happen. But is it possible that Trae Young would give him some difficulty? I do think so. I think Trae Young, just his tenacity and his approach to the game would be something of a challenge for Grant Hill. But nonetheless, I think Grant Hill, I don't know. I think Grant Hill would win only because I think Grant Hill himself will be a handful for Trae Young to guard. All right. So, I think just because Grant Hill would be hard for Trae Young to guard, but I don't think that Grant Hill would have that much trouble. No, he would have trouble, but he wouldn't have as much trouble as Trae would be guarding him, if that made a difference. All right. So we will see. All right. Anybody else? All right. So sorry, Zachary, your vote was a little bit too late. Reese got the best of you on the board for who we should sub in. All right. What up, everybody? Thank you for joining. Reese made a sub for us, and he subbed out Zach Randolph for Zach. No, he subbed in Trae Young for Zach Randolph. All right. So let's see what the board is saying. Emery says Grant Hill would be better. Zachary still says that Zach Randolph would have been a much better matchup. Frank, what up, Frank? Frank is the owner and the originator, because there are a lot of them on the wall, on the Facebook walls now. Originator of Cardopoly. Some of these cards I'm playing with today are from his group, so go ahead and friend him if you want to get into the hobby. Go ahead and link up with Frank. Reese says Grant. Jason says Young. Zachary says Grant, and Jason, thank you, Jason, with the final count. Jason says Grant Hill would come on top. So I'm gonna get back to Cardopoly in a second, but you guys have spoken and picked Grant Hill to beat Trae Young by a nose. All right. So again, if you're playing this for the first time, you're seeing how this is done. We just moved on Grant Hill, and we're saying goodbye to Trae Young. The next matchup is a great one. We have Carmelo Anthony versus Kristaps Porzingis. All right. If you have Knicks friends, tell them that this is going down again. I feel like we've had this matchup on Card Chaos before, but new people on the board, new voters. We have Carmelo Anthony versus Kristaps Porzingis. All right. If you want to sub, again, we have 2 more subs left. We have Donovan Mitchell and CJ McCollum. So if you don't want this Kristaps Porzingis versus Carmelo matchup, speak up now or forever hold your peace. All right. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds while you guys decide that. And while you guys are deciding, I just want to plug again Cardopoly. Cardopoly is a game where a trading card is in every spot of the Monopoly board, and free parking is a treasure chest of all types of cards that are worth lots. Thanks to Frank. Frank got me warmed up back in the hobby, playing a lot of Cardopoly. Jason plays Cardopoly. All right. What's up, Jamal? Jamal says that's a messy matchup. We can keep it. I'm giving you guys 5 seconds, 5 extra seconds. Or else we're gonna keep going. Kristaps Porzingis versus Carmelo Anthony. I love it. I like it. But again, the subs are Donovan Mitchell and CJ McCollum. Donovan Mitchell and CJ McCollum are the last 2 subs for today. 1 more second, and then we'll start. All right. Nobody's speaking up. All right. So we're going to go ahead with the original matchup. The original matchup was Kristaps Porzingis and Carmelo Anthony. I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock. 60 seconds on the clock. Kristaps Porzingis versus Carmelo Anthony. Let us begin. All right. So I want to start off by saying that I don't think that Carmelo Anthony gets enough credit for playing good defense. I think Carmelo Anthony is a very good defensive player, and he just doesn't get credit for it because of maybe attitude. But I think he would definitely step up to the plate to guard Kristaps. All right. And Kristaps would have some issues with him because then Kristaps would have to guard Carmelo. Kristaps Porzingis, I don't care that he's like 9 feet tall, cannot guard Carmelo Anthony. All right. The pump fake alone is getting Carmelo Anthony to the basket. Now, again, Kristaps Porzingis, he can post up Melo, but he won't be successful. He is an outside shooter, but not as good as an outside shooter as Carmelo Anthony. At least, I don't think so. I have to look up those numbers. But nonetheless, Kristaps Porzingis would have a very difficult time with Carmelo Anthony. And yeah, I hope the board comes up with Carmelo Anthony. Welcome to Card Chaos Live. Thank you for all the people that are joining. This is a game I created when COVID kind of put the NBA on pause. I shuffle my NBA trading cards to create one-on-one matchups that we may or may not see in today's NBA. Any player, any position, any era, anything goes. Again, any player, any position, any era, anything goes. We just did Kristaps Porzingis versus Kristaps Porzingis versus Carmelo Anthony. All right. So what we can do is, sorry, I got to delete that. All right. Go to the board now. So we'll see. All right. So the board is saying Melo, right? By Reese. Jason says Melo. Frank says Melo. Zachary, always got to throw a curveball. Zachary says Kristaps Porzingis. Jamal says Melo, if young Melo. This is prime Melo. All right. Omar says Melo. And it looks like there's a 5-1 to Carmelo Anthony, right? So I'm going to bring up the chart again. Thank you all for voting. Go ahead and tag your friends. We are one step closer to the finals, which is Jimmy Butler versus LeBron James. All right. Carmelo Anthony wins this round 5-1. And here's a very cool matchup coming up. We have, let me put Carmelo to the side. We have Paul George versus Kevin Durant. Paul George versus Kevin Durant in this third bracket of Card Chaos Live. Go ahead and tag your friends while I put their names in the bracket. And while you put your name in the bracket, while I put the names in the bracket, I just want to say that I am currently working on a video that I'll release either today or tomorrow that talks about the top 10 players that you should collect for the 2020-21 season, my opinion only. And I'm going to give you a spoiler. The spoiler is that I do have Paul George on that list, despite what happened in this playoffs. To find out why, you're going to have to click that video. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. Also subscribe to that. All right. So I'm predicting there's no subs for this one. I feel like y'all want this to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put 60 seconds on the clock. We're going to put Paul George versus Kevin Durant. Let us begin. All right. So number one, rant first. You should have stayed in OKC. This would have been a much better fight to the finish. Anyway, Kevin Durant versus Paul George. I think they're one and the same, to be honest. I know Kevin Durant has a reputation because he carried the Thunder for so long, and Paul George, Thunder was a pit stop for him. And he hasn't quite come up to expectations of the Clippers. Nonetheless, when it comes to one thing, I think he surpasses Kevin Durant, and that's ball handling. I know that people think that Kevin Durant is a ball handler and would be able to create his own shot. But one thing they didn't realize when he was on OKC is that he was a turnover machine. I think Paul George would do much better creating his own shot, which is an essential part of one-on-one, and thus come out on top. Kevin Durant won't let him go down easily though. Won't win easily though, but I just think Kevin Durant's ball handling is overrated and will not help him in this matchup. Welcome to Card Chaos Live, where I shuffle my trading cards to create one-on-one matchups that we may or may not see in today's NBA. Any player, any position, any era, anything goes. That was my personal opinion. You can have your own opinion. I just think Kevin Durant's ball handling is kind of suspect, but people don't acknowledge it. That's my thing, my opinion. All right, so we'll go to the board. Jason says Katie. Zach is already trolling, subbing CJ for LeBron. Frank says KD. Jamal says KD. Zachary says KD. Oh boy, this is not going my way. LeBron and Durant would be a good matchup. That would be good. Maybe we'll do that next week, Frank. Too easy, KD. Jamal says it's against my religion to say KD. Reese, I don't know. Durant sweep. This is, oh man. I not one. Let's count my vote because I think that Paul George should have at least gotten one vote. I do think Paul George has a better better ball handler than Kevin Durant and would be able to at least make this worth playing. So even though my one vote doesn't make him win, you guys picked KD to come out on top. And here's the chart so you can see, or the bracket. How do we say chart? What is stupid? I was so stupid. All right, 6-1. Yes. Right? No way Paul George wouldn't have gotten one vote. So here's the semifinals and how they're shaping up. We have Grant Hill and Carmelo and KD unfairly coming out with the victory over Paul George. Now we're at the main event. Tag your Laker fan friends, or your Miami Heat friends. We're gonna do Jimmy Butler versus LeBron. All right. And this might seem to be a lopsided matchup, but again, like I said to you guys before, this is any player, any position, any era, anything goes. And yes, so here are my cards for you card collectors. These aren't the best LeBron James that I have, but it's just the representation of the player. And here's Jimmy Butler. All right. Don Ross, Jimmy Butler, hoops, LeBron James. By the way, this hoops LeBron James on eBay is going at like $175. So I shouldn't even talk shit about my LeBron James because that card is worth a lot of money. I'm gonna put 60 seconds on the clock. We're gonna do LeBron James versus Jimmy Butler. Let us begin. All right, so now here's the thing. LeBron James averages about 27 points a game, and Jimmy Butler averages 17. And even though this is career, and even though that it's such a big gap, everybody knows that Jimmy Butler has great defense. Now, LeBron has good defense, but I think, I don't know. Jimmy, he probably could guard Jimmy Butler. Even though Jimmy Butler is highly thought of, highly acknowledged, I still don't think of him as a scorer, to be honest. He is a glue guy. He is gonna keep the morale high, but damn it, he averages 17 points a game. Let's acknowledge that. That's not like LeBron level points, right? One-on-one, however, I feel like LeBron is better in transition than he is in one-on-one. And I think Jimmy Butler could take advantage of that. So this is a tough one because he will be able to stop LeBron defensively, I think, on a one-on-one game. Not in a team game. So don't get that twisted. I think that the Lakers still come out on top for this one, but we'll see. All right, so like Zachary said, let us remember that this is street ball, right? All right. So Frank says, LeBron, nice didn't see you have LeBron in the bracket. It will be LeBron versus Katie next round. I get you got the prediction there. So that's Frank putting his vote on LeBron. Reese says LeBron. Easy. Jason says, I hate to say it, but Bron. Jamal says LeBron James. Omar says LeBron all day. Big up and respect to Jimmy and how hard he worked, but LeBron James all day. Butler if it's street ball. See, Zachary always got the plot twist, but it's true. Like if it's street ball, I do think Jimmy Butler. That was my vote too. Jimmy Butler. But he said it's sweet. No, it's one for Butler. One for Butler. Two for Butler if you count me, but one for Butler. I'm in here rigging the vote. Rigging the vote. Jamal says LeBron could turn on defense when he wants. Prove that on young Derrick Rose. Listen, that was like a decade ago. We're talking about that's young LeBron, right? We're talking about now. Let's talk about now LeBron. You got me here debating on the wall. Like this is a talk show. Nonetheless, it looks like LeBron James comes on top, even with the extra vote. So, quick look at the semifinals. We're gonna have not Jimmy Butler, LeBron James into this matchup. Go ahead and tag your friends. I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction because they deserve it for the semifinals. All right. So here are the semifinal players for this episode of Card Chaos Live. All right. All right. So go ahead and tag your friends. This is the semifinals for Card Chaos Live. We will have Grant Hill. Grant Hill will be in this semifinals of Card Chaos Live. All right. Next, we have LeBron James. LeBron James will be in the semifinals of Card Chaos Live. Also, in this episode of Card Chaos Live, we will have Kevin Durant. As Frank predicted, Kevin Durant will be in this episode of Card Chaos Live. And last but not least, for the semifinals, we have Carmelo Anthony. Will Carmelo Anthony get a ring in this episode? Again, one more time. We have Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Grant Hill. Thank you for this episode of Card Chaos Live. What a crazy matchup. Crazy matchup. Some of our big hitters, top players in the league today, right? See how that works out? Sometimes when I start this game, I get real nervous. I'll be like, ooh, Zach Randolph, what in the hell? But the universe kind of adjusts for that. Oh, that's yesterday's game. All right, so now we're going to do Grant Hill versus Carmelo and Kevin Durant versus LeBron. Ooh, well, as you guys can see on this bracket, I have an A between Grant Hill and Carmelo and a B between KD and LeBron. This is a warm-up for the playoff, for the semifinals that are called 2-on-2. And the A represents the team for those two players combined. So Grant Hill and Carmelo would be team A. Kevin Durant and LeBron would be team B. What a crazy matchup that would be. Again, Grant Hill and Carmelo would be team A. Kevin Durant and LeBron would be team B. What if these two teams went up 2-on-2 against each other? If you think Grant Hill and Carmelo could beat Kevin Durant and LeBron, pick team A. If you think that Kevin Durant and LeBron could beat Grant Hill and Carmelo, pick team B. I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock for this 2-on-2 matchup. Let us begin. All right. So, Kevin Durant. All right. Carmelo, it would be Grant Hill. And, all right, this is Team A. I think that this team would definitely give a lot of trouble to Team B. But ultimately, I do think that Ooh, it might be Team B, but it'll come down to this matchup right here. Grant Hill versus LeBron James. And who's the better creator, right? Who's the better point forward, right? Would Grant Hill get better shots for Carmelo? And would LeBron get better shots for Kevin Durant? Not only as that, who's the better scorer? Is Carmelo the better scorer, or is Kevin Durant the better scorer? You know what? I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to pick Grant Hill and Carmelo. Team A is my choice. I can't see your votes right now, and I know you guys always are. You guys are anti-Trish. So I'm just playing. We'll see what you guys pick as the matchup or the winning team for today. So Reese picks Team B. That's LeBron and KD. Frank picks LeBron and KD. Jason has to go, but he's putting his vote for Team B, right? All right. Jamal picks Team B. Omar picks Team B. Jason picks Team A. Yes, 2 for Team A and another 1 for Team B. But it looks like Carmelo and KD come out on top. Thank you for the warm up. And by the way, again, thank you to all the groups that let me post. If you haven't done so, post this on your personal wall so people can see. I want to give a shout out to Cardopoly, Card Slingers, the greatest card emporium, Veston Sports Group, and to MW. Also, ACG lets me post Jersey Sports cards. Let me post all those groups. Thank you very much. Right now, we're gonna do Carmelo versus Grant Hill. Ooh-wee, what a cool matchup! Carmelo versus Grant Hill. All right, I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock. Let us begin. Carmelo versus Grant Hill. Wow, very hard. Look at that. Right? So, yikes. I think that we would have a very interesting matchup right here because Carmelo is definitely, to me, the better scorer. But Grant Hill was so he's so good. Again, one of the top players thought about on the same lane as like Michael Jordan at one point. Was supposed to inherit the league from him. Then injuries came. We can't say the same thing about Carmelo, but Carmelo came in with LeBron. That's a tough thing to a tough co-worker, I guess, to be placed up against. So he never got his just due, but I'm gonna pick Carmelo because I think he's the better scorer and he'd find a way to get buckets. Grant Hill. Oh, this is so hard. I don't know who to pick, but my gut says Carmelo, but my mind may be saying Grant Hill. Welcome to Card Chaos Live. One of the more difficult matchups we have for today. Zachary says Grant Hill. Frank says Carmelo. Omar says Grant Hill, more versatile scorer. Grant Hill by Reese and Melo by Jamal. It looks like Melo came out on top. Don't feel like this is disrespect. This is street ball, and I feel like Carmelo Anthony would come out on top. I think you made the right choice, Jamal. So it looks like 1, 2, 3. Right, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's a tie. Come on, guys. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now my vote has to count, and I'm picking Carmelo. So Carmelo Anthony will come out on top. This is why y'all need to tag your friends, because when it's a tie, Trisha's bias is the tiebreaker. So I'm gonna move on Carmelo to the finals. All right. So the next matchup is Kevin Durant. Is it Carmelo? Is it Grant Hill? I got a flag on the play. Somebody wants me to review. Grant Hill 3. Oh, man. Guys. All right. I tried to sneak one in. I tried to steal that. So, all right. I'm going to put that. Since Zachary got the count, I'm going to go ahead and put in Grant Hill to move on instead of Carmelo Anthony. We were so close, Carmelo. I almost stole that for you. Too late, Joshua. All right. The next matchup is Kevin Durant versus LeBron James. Kevin Durant versus LeBron James. I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock. Let us begin. Kevin Durant versus LeBron James. Oh my God. This is a hard one. Oh. Ooh, so many things to think about. LeBron James is, I guess, the best player in the NBA, and that's something that Kevin Durant strives for. When it comes to ball handling and street ball, I mean, he's a better team player, to be honest. But I feel like even though Kevin Durant averages 900 turnovers a game, I think that he would be the better of the matchup, just because I think it'll be hard for LeBron to play defense on Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's like 9 feet, has a 9-foot wingspan or 11-foot wingspan, whatever he is, like an octopus. And so it'd be very difficult for LeBron to score on him and or block his shot. So I'm gonna have to go with Kevin Durant, even though I don't want to say it. That hurt me a lot. Okay. Woo, took a lot out of me to say Kevin Durant. Welcome to Card Chaos Live, where I shuffle my NBA trading cards to create one-on-one matchups that we may or may not see in today's NBA. Any player, any position, any era, anything goes. We just did Kevin Durant versus LeBron James. Woo, what a tough matchup. All right, so let's go to the board. All right, so Joshua picks KD. Reese, thank you, Reese. Reese was one of our very earlier viewers when COVID was first up and popping, and he's back. Thank you for stopping in for today, Reese. Zachary says KD. Frank says LeBron James. Omar says Durant. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3 for Durant, 2 for LeBron. Jamal says KD. Is it a tie? Come on. 1, 2, 3. 1. No, it's KD. Let's see. Joshua says it's 4-3 KD. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is 4-3. So Kevin Durant moves on in this semifinals of Card Chaos Live, and he will be facing up against Grant Hill. Look at that. See how God works. you get nervous in the beginning. I kid you not, guys. When I do the shuffling in the beginning, I do get very nervous as to what the matchups will be, because it's really and truly random. And so the finals usually works things out, right? I get a bit nervous, but so it looks like Grant Hill versus Kevin Durant. This is a classic matchup. No Pippen. You came in a little late, but I showed the wall that I retired all my Scottie Pippens. Scottie Pippen won like 3 episodes in a row. And I wasn't doing it on purpose. People know how much I like Scottie Pippen. I wasn't doing it on purpose. All right. So the finals will be Kevin Durant versus Grant Hill. Wait, no, it's Kevin Durant versus Grant Hill. Grant Hill is another guy I needed to retire. Like in the first season of Card Chaos Live, he was winning everything. But I also have like 100 like Grant Hills, which is strange, right? This is his. If you want to see it, this is his hypnotized card. I think 2nd year in Detroit. I don't know how much that is worth, but anyway, I'm gonna put 60 seconds on the clock. The final is Grant Hill versus Kevin Durant. All right, let us begin. Oh boy. To me, they're just like the same player, except Grant Hill, to me, again, has the better handle. I think Grant Hill can guard Kevin Durant. Grant Hill is pretty tall. I think he's like 6'8". Yeah, so Grant Hill is about 6'8". Kevin Durant is 6'9", 6'10". So the height difference isn't a thing. Kevin Durant does have longer arms than Grant Hill, so would he be able to play at least distract Grant Hill from jumpers? But damn it, Grant Hill has a handle and would be able to get past Kevin Durant at the key. So I think that Grant Hill, along with he also posts up Kevin Durant. Like, Grant Hill can post and shoot and drive to the basket. I just think he has just more of an offensive tool set than Kevin Durant. But in a team game, Kevin Durant comes out on top. But Grant Hill, I think Grant Hill should be you guys' vote. Y'all know I would have let Muggsy Bogues beat Kevin Durant if I could. Welcome to Card Chaos Live, where I shuffle my NBA trading cards to create one-on-one matchups that we may or may not see in today's NBA. Any player, any position, any era, anything goes. All right. Joshua says Kevin Durant. Reese says Grant Hill. Frank says KD. This is looking painful. Zach says KD, and Omar says KD. So it looks like all of you have picked Kevin Durant to win this episode of Card Chaos Live over Grant Hill. Normally I would complain, but this was actually a pretty good matchup. Again, I do think that Grant Hill would have. I think here's the official vote from Zachary. I do think Grant Hill would have came out on top, to be honest. I just think that Kevin Durant may be slightly overrated, but y'all know me already, so I don't want to get into it. But yeah, this is the finals. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining me from 1 to 2. Friday, I had a matchup of Carmelo versus I had a matchup with Carmelo Anthony, but I actually did that Monday. So Friday, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. So stay tuned for that. It's still a game, right? Tell them, Reese, KD's too slow, right? It's going to still be a game, but I'm bringing back something I call Real Stat 360, where you guys tell me if it's a real stat or not. All right. So details of that will come out tomorrow. But yeah, that was Card Chaos Live, and it looks like Kevin Durant is king for today. Now, with that said, again, thank you to all the groups. Please friend Frank. Frank runs Cardopoly, and this is not for people that are just in the hobby. It is a fun game for all. It's a family-friendly game. His son rolls the dice, and you could come win big. All right. I won a lot of cards through Frank. Frank kind of replenished my stash, and yeah, Cardopoly, right? With that said, thank you all for joining this episode of Card Chaos Live. I'm here on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right. Check out the page, like the page if you haven't. We have a site, cardchaoslive.com. YouTube, we're Card Chaos Live. Please buy a shirt, donate to the Cash App with QFW Sports, right? Or buy a shirt on the QFW Sports page. Again, this is one-on-one Card Chaos Live, and I'll see you Friday.